Hello, welcome to today's video. This is part 2 of the repeated legato technique. So in the previous video, when we were learning about repeated legato, we were working on this page, page 7 of the Alfred Solomon book 2. So as we learned previously, when we have a slur and we have two of the same note, so let's go ahead and take a look at our example here. Two of the same note that are next to each other within a slur, we're going to play both of those notes legato. And the way we talked about doing that was we take our finger and do a little slide and a little jump to do it quickly so that it sounds legato and not legato. So this is more of a preparatory or more of a beginner kind of repeated legato for those that are still young and learning about the piano for the first time. It is sufficient for those that are learning, as just mentioned. However, as we continue to learn about the piano, we mature, we advance, we're able to play a little bit more and read a little bit more. It now becomes a better idea to apply a more advanced technique. We can still apply that one, but we're going to hinder it just a bit. So maybe not so much of a movement, or maybe no movement at all. So depending on what the situation is with your music. So let's go ahead now, and I'm going to refer you to some new music. Here we are. Okay, so what we have here is Czerny. This is Opus 599, number 39. Czerny wrote a lot of etudes for the piano. And as you can see here, we have a slur at the beginning, 4-bar phrase, a slur, and notice how many repeated legatos we have. But let's focus in on the fingering. So the fingering says 5-4, 3-2, 3-2, 3-2. Well, in part 1, we learned that we were using the same finger for both notes. But the more advanced way of playing repeated legato is like you see here. So we see that we're going to do different types of fingerings. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do an overhead view now. So when we play repeated legato, I'm going to go ahead and start up here since the video says to go up here. Let me move the camera that way. Okay, so we have here, starting on G, we have two Gs, and that's what the repeated legato is supposed to be. We could do that if we wanted to. So we have that as part 1 of the repeated legato, but what Czerny is asking us to do is to start in C position. And so instead of repeating the same finger and sliding, we're going to switch fingers and do kind of something in between. So as you can see, I did a tiny bitty little slide when I was switching from one to the other. So this is an actual exercise that we can try when playing repeated legato with 2 or more fingers. So what we're going to do is we're going to start in the right hand with our pinky on C. And so we're going to start with 2 fingers first. So as you can see, we were doing 5 and 4. Let's go ahead now and do 2 and 1. Sorry. And so what we're trying to do is we let it go. Remember, when we let it go, it should not come all the way up to the top, because then the sound would stop and then we would create a non-legato articulation. So before letting it come up all the way, just like when we did this, quickly let your other finger press it down just as it is midway or 3/4 of the way up, so that it creates another sound without creating the non-legato space of silence. Okay, so what we can do is practice this exercise with any set of fingers, doing 2, doing 3, 4, etc. So as we start initially, let's do just 2 fingers. And when we go this way, we're going to start with the second finger. Make sure that you're going quickly. Okay. And then when we go back down, start on the outer finger. Okay, so as you can see, it allows us to move that way without having to cross over. Okay, and you can try any combination of fingers. And then we start on the 2, on the 3. We shift over each time. Okay, just like that. Or if we want to do 2 and 3, we'll start with the 3. Okay. Always shifting over after we're done with the first finger. Okay, so that's a really good exercise. Start with the stronger fingers first, but eventually move on to different sets of combinations, 1 and 2, 2 and 3, 3 and 4, or 4 and 5. And you can do the same thing with the left hand, like that. Now before you can actually make it up a pentascale, try your best just to create the sound first. Maybe going back and forth like this from one finger to another. Does it sound repeated legato? If it starts to sound this way, so you see, notice that the sound is stopping in between. We don't want that. Before the key comes up all the way, remember, press it down again quickly. And I would encourage you, please, to play this with one hand at a time. So as you can see, referring back to, once again, the Czerny piece, this is allowing us to explore a more advanced and a more appropriate technique for repeated legato. Oops, excuse me. Excuse me. Let's try that again. I think I forgot the F sharp. There you go. I think we'll have to remember to do those on black keys as well. And then we come back down and up. And so as we can see here on that second system, we had an example of repeated legato, but this time it featured 3 notes in a row. When we have odd combinations, we have some options, okay? So notice here that Czerny says we're going to be doing 3, 2, 1, okay? So when we have 3 or more different notes, we can use different types of fingerings. The easiest type of fingering is to do 3 different ones. So when we apply this to the exercise that was introduced, excuse me, we do it this way. And then we're going back. Always shift over your hand. Try not to bunch it all in a group like this. Make sure you're giving your hand space over the keyboard. And then, of course, that can be applied to different combinations of fingers. So, for example, 5, 4, 3. We can also do 4, 3, 2. It depends on what the needs are of the music. Okay, so we have that example. I want to go back to page 7 of the Alfred's book, and we do actually have an example of an odd number of repeated legato at the end of this piece, the Love Somebody piece. So usually when we were playing this one here, we did 3, 3, 2, 2, 1, 1, 1. When we apply the new repeated legato, which is multiple fingers, we can actually do it this way. So instead of just doing 1, 1, 1, let's try it this way. 1, 2, 1. And so as you can see, it allows us to go back to 1 at the end, keeping our hand in C position. And the way that looks when playing the end there is going to be 1, 2, 1. And so the hand just moves back and forth to allow for practicality, putting it back in C position. And if we want to apply that as an exercise, that's going to be a little bit difficult to do, to go up the scale, but this is going to be just as examples allow, okay, in the music. So the option is or I like that one when we have odd numbers of repeated legato notes. Try 2 different fingers, starting on the 1, going to 2, and then going back to 1, just as we saw for the end of Love Somebody. Or if we want to do different combinations, or 3, 4, 3, or 4, 3, 4, or 5, 4, 5. It depends on what the needs are of the music. As a beginner, we will remain doing this way for repeated legato, but as we advance, I want you to get to know how to play repeated legato with different types of fingerings. So as you can see, we have 3 different types of there. And we will discuss those based on the needs of the music. So thanks for watching. Please practice according to what I instruct in the lesson or what you encounter in your music. Thanks, and we will see you next time. Have a good day.